Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be another reaction to RolyPolyOllie and his reaction to episode 3 and 4 of Voyager. And I'll put the episodes on the screen. I can't think of one is like Time and Time Again, and maybe Parallax. But yeah, I know what happens in the episodes. I just can't think of the name offhand. But yeah, so you've got your one episode where it's kind of a B'Elanna-centric episode, and she's having a tough time in engineering. So I'm not really going to talk about the episode per se, because he already reacted to the episode. I'm assuming most of you guys have already seen it. What I will try to do is talk about what I thought about his thoughts, and just a few things about the episode. So yeah. And again, it's so funny when anyone's starting these new shows, and he was saying he couldn't remember Chakotay's name. And yeah, in the first 2, 3, 4 episodes, before, they name drop these characters 5, 10, 15, 20 times, it is kind of hard. And same with target audience and them, trying to remember all the characters' names and, being introduced to like Nog. And it's like, oh, is that someone's kid or like whatever? So that's some of the funnest part to me, is like seeing their like gradually their mind expanding to like the new the new world that's being built essentially within every episode, expanding more, learning more about the cultures and stuff. So his reaction I thought was pretty good. It seemed like he enjoyed the episode. At one point, it's funny because he made a comment like, oh, they both have kind of a similar feel to them story-wise. They both have like, oh, there's some kind of anomaly or there's some kind of thing they have to investigate. They end up being 2 totally different episodes. But I do love, there's a couple things that in the edited version of his reaction were not in there. And I get that you can't have every moment in there, but one moment I really like is that after Chakotay has fought for B'Elanna, says, make sure you give her, get to know her before you write her off, before you make your decision. And B'Elanna goes in and Janeway meets her and kind of blows up. But then when they're figuring out the situation about the anomaly or being stuck in the event horizon, that they're actually the ones stuck in it, and it's, like a fracture, and they're basically seeing their own reflection kind of thing, time distortion, whatever. When her and Janeway are kind of on the same page with their logic and their reasoning and coming up with the solution, as Chakotay's leaving out of the briefing room, that he stops and turns back at Janeway, and she kind of smirks and is like, yeah, she knows what's up, and or good call. And yeah, and then as she digs deeper, she finds out that B'Elanna had been in the academy, had washed out on her own accord. She felt she couldn't cut it, and that a lot of the teachers were very supportive of her to rejoin and stuff like that. So this episode is like, it's basically a little bit of backstory for B'Elanna, and then it's starting to show you the relationship that's starting to form between Janeway and B'Elanna, and I mean, it probably goes without saying, maybe you guys, haven't figured it out yet, but I mean, Janeway essentially becomes the mother to the entire crew. I mean, she's the captain at one point, but she also, it feels responsible for everyone on the crew. And so there is that like mothering, protective, and seeing them, a lot of these people like straight out of the Maquis, they were possibly a little misguided. Things happened in their lives that set them on that path, but due to the circumstances forcing them together, now, she wants to nurture this relationship and help them be as productive member of the team and the ship, and for everyone to be able to get along as well as possible. Obviously, that's not always going to be the case. There's always, going to be, different feelings in that regard, and, some dissension here and there periodically, but for the most part. So then he watches the second episode, and yeah, I mean, I agree with most of his thoughts on that one. I think the second one is called Time and Time Again. And this is interesting because it kind of mirrors, there's another episode, and when I was watching it, I thought right away, I was like, oh, a little bit of like yesterday's Enterprise, where Guinan is aware that something's wrong, but everybody else is oblivious to it. And it kind of had a similar vibe to it, where, Kes, this is very early Kes, where you don't really know much about her, but she hints at, like, there's legends and tales that her species had mental powers, and that she, like, kind of woke up to a vision of seeing them die, and she's, aware of Janeway being on the planet, all that kind of stuff. And the only downside to the end of the episode is that, yes, all of the episode essentially doesn't happen, but she had that little bit of progress, that little bit of character story development where, like, or the story character development where, like, she essentially was kind of getting to kind of dive into these powers and see about them, and you basically have that erased. So it's kind of unfortunate, but whatever, hey, the show goes on, and there's plenty of other opportunities. But obviously there's Prime Directive issues, and he seemed like he enjoyed the episode for the most part. I always enjoy when, you have kind of a twist where what they're investigating, it turned out they were the cause of. And that's kind of crazy that, like, their own rescue attempt is what ends up causing the explosion in the first place, because they got sent back a day. So it's a pretty fun episode for an early Voyager episode. I think it's a pretty good one. And you guys should definitely check it out. Hope you enjoy it. And so that's the 2 episodes that he watched, and that's my reaction of his reaction of those 2 episodes. And I'm just excited for him to get further along, but see some of my early favorite episodes from season 1 and 2 and 3 and so on. So and same thing with target audience, for them to get into DS9 and see some of the further character development and meet some of the new species in the show and stuff like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my thoughts. I know this is kind of weird, like my reaction to his reaction to whatever, but I just thought I'd add a little insight, give my thoughts on what these reactors, the channels that are reacting to these shows, what they think in general, give my thoughts on that. And hey, if you enjoy hearing me talk about that, also giving you a place to comment freely. I know they don't want any spoilers on their channel, so feel free to talk about anything Star Trek related in the comment section on my videos. If you want to talk about season 7 stuff of Voyager, or the end of DS9, or whatever, feel free, and we can definitely have a little discourse. And if you guys do comment, I will try to address some of the comments in the next upcoming video, possibly. I may do a tail end section where we address comments, talk, and discuss, and stuff like that. So all right, catch you guys later.